need to do this now because things could change. Life is short. People can't wait. They need to capture these moments.
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the Duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips. Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 35, and today we're chatting about what types of marketing you should focus on during a recession. So during a recession, which is all pretty much anyone can talk about right now, and everyone feels really scared, I think a lot of small businesses are just foreseeing a future where things might not be going as well as they previously have. This is kind of just part of the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, and it's even scarier, especially if you've made the leap to starting your own new business in the past few years, which we can attest to that too. We're in this group just like you are. So one of the really important things to remember, and we're going to go through some different marketing tactics that you should really focus on for this upcoming year. But during a recession, one thing that we want to make clear is that making any drastic changes to your marketing strategy really isn't a good idea. So what do we mean by this? We mean if you haven't been paying for Facebook ads or Instagram ads, maybe Pinterest ads even, if you're not paying for or using an ad strategy currently, this probably isn't a good idea to start doing that. When you start just pumping a bunch of money into ads because you feel scary about the future ahead, you really end up throwing money away because your audience doesn't yet know you, they don't yet trust you, they're not used to seeing you in this space, and it can actually be a deterrent and an automatic turnoff for your audience. So, and one more note on that too is that you don't have any kind of baseline performance of how your ads are performing for you now versus prior. So that can really be something that I think a lot of small businesses jump to is they're like, I need to do more marketing. I need to do more things to stand out in this market. And that actually isn't always the best answer. So we have a few things that we're going to go through in terms of what you should focus on instead.
Yes. So also to a good point on what Abby was talking about, I would hope that this is a huge sigh of relief for all of you, because if you're thinking about putting more money into ads or doing stuff like that during a recession, you're probably trying to stretch your dollars as much as you can anyway. So with us telling you that you shouldn't be doing that, we really hope that you're like cheering really loud through wherever you're listening, because we want to focus our efforts differently versus just throwing dollars at it to try to make our marketing stronger. So that makes me feel better, especially for our little business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Saving money is 100% a part of that. And that comes into your marketing strategy too.
Yes. So what should you focus on? The first thing that we're talking about is reconsider your unique point of difference. So what do we mean by that? Why are you different from your competitors? This needs to be stronger now than ever, if you think about it, because as things are changing and as the recession, hits and we're working through it, this is where you really need to shine. This is where you really need to outshine your competitors. You need to be the one that your audience is seeing and that wants to go forward with. So what are those things that you can do to really outrank them and be the top in your industry? So we're going to give you an example here. Before, you were just a photographer capturing beautiful memories of families. Now you are capturing once-in-a-lifetime moments that need to be remembered, because this time next year, everything could be different. So what we did there is we really focused on that messaging and how you transitioned that messaging from just being a photographer capturing those beautiful memories, but now you're a photographer capturing those once-in-a-lifetime moments to be remembered, because this time next year, everything could be different. So really, that's like the biggest thing we did there was that messaging. So if you take your messaging and refocus it, you could be outshining your competitors in that area and also creating this sense of urgency. So during this time, a lot of people are probably more cautious about how they're spending their dollars. And when they think of photography, they might think, we can just wait until next year because this might not be an expense that we want to do right now. But if you switch that messaging, create that sense of urgency while also creating that connection, that those lifetime moments, and like reminding them that things could change a year out from now, you're really capturing that emotional side of them, but also letting them know that like, you need to do this now because things could change. So make sure you capture this now before those things do change. So it's really offering the way you capture photos, and that didn't change, but you need to put an emphasis on the now. So life is short. People can't wait. They need to capture these moments now. So messaging is a huge thing that you need to focus on when there is a recession going on.
And you might simply be updating these messaging in your email newsletter, on your social bio, or just even tweaking how your business is described on the homepage of your website, in your Google business profile. All of these kind of messaging tactics should be updated to drive that urgency, that connection, that reason why people need you now during a time when people are spending less money. So the next thing, is no surprise to anyone listening, is SEO. So SEO is a great thing to focus on during a recession, and we are not just telling you this because we do it, although we would love to help you with it. This is something you can 100% do on your own. We have so many resources for you on this pod and in the blog. But just by updating simple things like your meta description, making sure that all of your pages are using the right keywords, that you're updating your unique point of difference on your website and using those keywords that Google is searching for, by doing this, those people that are searching for your services are going to more easily find you. And these are the easy sells. These are the people who are ready to spend money. They're already looking for you. They're not like your Instagram following, who you might need to convince a little harder to buy your product or to sell your service. These are people that are ready and looking for you right now. So this can be an awesome thing to focus on. And the best case of this is, unlike anything else you do, this has long-term growth and long-term effects for your business. So if you invest in this now, even coming out of a recession, you're still going to benefit from this. You're going to come out on top. So it's a great way to put your dollars because you know that it's going to be a long-term growth opportunity.
The next one is content marketing. So in other words, podcasting like we are doing now, or blogging. And one of the best things about these is that they're low cost. They're a low cost way to continue to market your business, to create relevant marketing and content for your audience. They're pretty easy too, I would say, we were terrified to start a podcast because we thought it was going to be all of this work and really hard to pull off. And it is one of the easiest pieces of content marketing that we do for our own business. So, not getting too overwhelmed with what those platforms or that content marketing looks like too, I would say, and just setting goals and doing the blogging or doing the podcasting. These, they involve creating informative and relevant content to engage your target audience. And instead of selling your audience, you're creating that helpful content and providing value to them. So these pieces of marketing are very value driven. And by doing that, over time, you're going to start to create loyal customers because you're giving them that content and you're educating them and giving them more value than what you might be able to do on Instagram or other pieces of marketing. And therefore, they're going to keep coming back to you because you do keep giving them that value that they're craving.
Absolutely. So next, speaking of that and creating loyal customers, one of the biggest things you can do during this time frame, especially since a lot of this involves a lot, you can pay for it, but you also can do this stuff on your own. You don't need to invest in it. You can write your own blogs. You can start your own podcast without help. You can Do your own SEO and optimize your website. Do your own keyword research. These are all things you can do. And during a recession, if you are getting less customers and getting less clients, you might find yourself with more time on your hands. And by using that time to focus on these things, even though they won't bring in clients or customers for you tomorrow, likely, they'll bring in the long-term customers that matter over time. So on that note, go ahead and lean on your past clients and customers. So this is our next word of advice and one of the best ways to market your own business, because you're not using your own words. You are using your past customers and clients, and word of mouth is everything, and trust is everything when people are holding their money tight. They need to feel really confident that they're putting their money that they have towards the right people, and they need to feel really good about that. So during this time frame, you can use your extra time to ask for reviews. Make sure that you have all of your clients have left you reviews. We're going to be talking about this in another podcast episode coming up soon as well. You can also do things like Instagram Lives. We do this very often before we launch our group coaching program to have our students talk about the program, not us. That can be so powerful to have your clients and customers talk about your products and services for you, because people like to hear those stories. You can go ahead and share stories in your email newsletter. You can even do a newsletter trade, which if you're on our Tuesday Tips and Sips newsletter, you know that we did that just a few weeks back. We did that with Between the Lines Copywriting. We did a little trade, shared audiences. That is a great way to grow brand awareness and get your name out there. So really use this time to help do less of the selling on your end and have your clients and customers do it for you, because people really value that information. And then you can also, even if you're not sharing it with your audience, you can also use this time to really reflect and just ask feedback. We have a feedback survey that we send to all of our clients, and we ask them how things went, if they can just fill it out. It's one Google Forms survey that we can just collect all the information. And when we are tweaking a service, when we're making updates, we really look at that feedback and we look at how we can improve our own services. And this can be a great time to go ahead and do that.
Yes. And before I jump into the last one, I just want to go back to a point that Abby kind of touched on with doing all of these things yourself, because like we said, you might find that you have more time. When you do focus on these things, I would say set a goal on which one you want to start with and kind of going from there and finishing that one and then going to the next one. So, if you have to set up your Google Analytics or do anything with your SEO, do that first and then check it off. And then if you need to start a blog or you want to start blogging more, do that second, because we know that these things can get super overwhelming. And if you start to make a giant to-do list and you're, dabbling in this one and then you're dabbling in that one, you're going to get overwhelmed. People are probably more overwhelmed in a recession anyways. So really just focusing your efforts on one of these at a time and checking them off of your list will not only help you during the recession to bring in more clients or, gain more leads, but it'll also help you to not go insane because you feel like you have to do all of these things to try to gain more clientele or whatever. So just, take it one step at a time versus trying to do them all because you're like in this panic mode of, recession and like, how do I gain clients? So the very last one is evaluate your brand. So your brand needs to be strong AF during this time. And that might be something that's a little hard to hear because a lot of people, I think, when they think of their brand, I think they think of visuals, and as strong as visuals are and as much as they mean for your brand, you also need to think of it from a perspective of like how you're connecting with your audience or your future customers. And I think a lot of that comes through with who you are, your messaging, your strategy, your mission. And I think a lot of people kind of tend to lose focus of that, especially during a recession, because I think they start to get into this mindset of like, oh my gosh, we have to change our mission, or we have to change our vision because, the world is, they're holding their, their money close to their chest. They're not spending as much. What do we have to do to shift to change this so they keep coming to us? Try to ask questions like, do I look and sound different? You maybe want to sound a little bit different. Like we talked about that messaging earlier. You may need to, focus your messaging and change your messaging to create urgency, like we told you earlier. Or B, give your audience solutions as to like why they should go with you through a recession, stuff like that. So really just making sure that you feel confident about how you look and sound to your audience during this recession. Asking yourself, does my brand bring me joy? I think sometimes we are so into our own brand that we've got all of these other things that we have to do. So really taking a step back and be like, does this bring me joy? Like, does the brand that I'm putting out there for my audience to see also like bring me joy? Because if it's not bringing you joy, it's most likely not bringing them joy, because they can see that come through. So really just making sure that that shows through, especially above and beyond during this time, because a lot of people are kind of questioning their joy during a recession because it's a scary time. Am I still a reflection of my brand? Making sure that you kind of go back to your mission and your story and why you started your brand, and really making sure that you are still the reflection of your brand. People love visuals and they love logos and they love websites, but what they love more is you. They love you, they love your story, they love, the reason that they connected with you. It could be on a personal level, it could be that you guys have a very similar story. So really just making sure that you are still a reflection of your brand and staying true to that. Does my brand bring joy to others? Like I said earlier, if it doesn't bring joy to you, that's most likely coming through and not bringing joy to others. Is my brand confusing? If your brand is confusing to you, then it's going to be confusing to others. And I think something that we can think about here too, from a visual perspective even, is in your marketing channels. Let's use Instagram for an example. If your brand is confusing on Instagram because let's say you're using 15 to 25 different Canva templates and they all look kind of different, or you're using a different font in each one, then your brand is going to get muddy and confusing to your audience, and they're not going to go with you, because it comes back to that trust. People want brands that they can trust, and showing trust through a brand visually really comes back to consistency. If you're consistent from one channel to the next, then your audience is going to see that and they're going to start to trust you more, because you seem more authentic and more reliable. And then this is a big one. What does my brand do differently than my competitors that allows me to stand out? So this is a good time to even research your competitors and maybe see what they're doing differently during a recession also. But what is it that you offer that makes you stand out? What makes you unique? What is that big differentiator between them and you, where somebody would choose you over them?
So we threw a lot of information at you. So I'm going to quickly recap. These are 5 different things that you can focus on to help market your business in a low-cost way by doing it yourself. Or if you are investing, they are very smart investments to make, because they're investments that are going to last long-term, well beyond the recession. So go back, consider your unique point of difference. Are you communicating that clear and effectively to help people make confident decisions during a recession? Focus on your SEO, optimize your website as much as you possibly can, optimize your Google My Business profile, go optimize your Instagram bio. We have blog posts for every single one of these so that you can go ahead and optimize your content on your own. Focus on content marketing, things like blogging, podcasting, all of these ways that you can offer more value to your audience and help build that trust. Lean on your past clients and customers and have them do the work for you, right? That's a lot easier. And then finally, evaluate your brand. I know we said don't make big changes during this time frame, and this is the one exception to that rule. Because if your brand is confusing, you're just going to fall by the wayside anyways. So super important to make sure that your brand is really strong during this time frame, and if it's not, it might be a time to consider a rebrand. So know that recessions can be super scary for small businesses. We feel it too. We know that you are not alone. We're all in this together. So use this time to really focus on these tactics so that you can come back even stronger on this fun little roller coaster ride that we call entrepreneurship.
If you liked this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please leave us a review and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.